No, Sherry. So in our middle square, I'm not sure what you guys are looking at. Sherry, go ahead and raise your hand. And Sherry Rivers is our poet that helped us before the girls went to STEAMIFY. Okay. And so she was our person, our poet that came and helped the girls get ready. Then you know Lucinda Clark, and Lucinda was the poet that came after they won the presentation and got them into the Georgia Dear Poet program. And then so she helped them with that. And then we have Miss Lucinda Clark. Oh, and she helped them edit their poem, The Duster. It definitely needed it, but they did great. Then Miss Laura McDonald, and Laura is the lady that came and helped them to get it into a poetry slam, where they would have motions to go with it. Unfortunately, because of being in this venue, we're not getting to use all those things, but they did a great job adding all those features. And then we have, let's see, I'm not sure, are you with us? And usually in Google Meet, the names are written at the bottom. And I don't have the names written at the bottom. Raise your hand if you see names on the bottom of each. You do. Okay. I don't know why I don't, but anyway, but we are there. Okay. And then we have our friend that is with us, and help me with pronouncing your last name. Is it Caspin? Okay. So Katie Caspin is with us, and we are waiting on Mr. Madden and Miss Guess. So now, Lucinda, tell us what you would like to share with us right now. And then remember, if you want to talk, remember you go to the middle of your screen, and there should be a pin, and there should be a little microphone. Click on the microphone that takes you off of mute. Okay. Okay. So go ahead, Lucinda. And it's still on mute.
All right. Yes.
Great. Yes. Okay. There you go.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I was just wondering if everyone had a copy of the program, so we'll know the order in which we're going in. And I'm going to start us off with a brief welcome, and then slide into the introduction to Ed Madden. And then I guess from the introduction, the young ladies are going to do Ed's poem, and then Miss Jeffers, you'll pick right up, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, and then we'll go down through the whole program. I am beyond excited because we're actually doing this, and I just look forward to a great program.
Excellent.
I just had one technical thing, and it's in my screen when I'm looking at the young ladies. Some of the screens are kind of what do you call it? Wobbly. Okay. Wobbly is the word, but I can't see them clearly.
Okay. Are you okay? So when you're looking at your screen, do you see 9 squares right now?
I do not.
Okay. So go up to your upper right-hand corner, and you should see that little grid. And you should see yourself in the corner, and then the little comment box. And ladies and gentlemen, also note that at the comment box, if you want to add a message, there's a way you can add a message to the group that it won't involve sound if you want to do that. So back to you, Lucinda. So do you see that little comment, that little thought balloon, or the little comment box? Do you see that?
I do not. I see yes, I see that. Yes.
Okay. And then next to it, it says there's a little people icon, and it has a 9 next to it.
Yes. Yes.
Great. And then next to it, is there a grid?
There is not.
Okay. So that grid is what enables you to, that was the extension I asked you to add. Do you want to try to go do that really fast?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, Laura, you recently did that. Do you think you could walk Lucinda through that?
Well, I was just about to say that I didn't download the extension either, because Lucinda and I had talked about that, and we thought that was automatically going to pop up in the meeting. So that was a miscommunication on our part.
Okay.
I'll try to run it real quick too.
Okay. See if that will work. because we're still
Okay.
waiting on 2 people. So,
Okay.
okay, and Miss, let's see, Sky. Good morning, Sky Elledge. Okay, so and then Katie, we're so happy to have you today. Thank you so much. She's a special friend with us today, and so good to have her as well. Thank you. And let's see, we just got. Okay, and here is Dr. Guess. And let's see, I'm not seeing her, but she should pop up in just a second. I said access, didn't I? Good morning, Dr. Guess. How are you? Good to see you. I think you're on mute right now. So can you, do you know how to get
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Great.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. So Jenny Montgomery, Dr. Guess who was just added. I don't know if you two know each other or not.
Hello.
Mr.
Hi.
Madden, Ed Madden is here with us. Good morning. Okay, so Mr. Madden, do you know how to take your the mute off? You go to the middle of your screen and there should be like a little pin and then there should be a little microphone. If you click on the microphone, it'll allow you to talk.
I just did.
Awesome. We are so happy to have you here this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. Okay, so you are good. Can Miss Dr. Guess, can you see everybody okay?
I can. It's wonderful.
Awesome. Okay, and Mr. Madden, you're good?
Yeah.
Okay, and I want you to know everyone is so prompt. We are, as soon as Miss McDonald, Miss McDonald's back. Okay, so I believe we are all here. Miss Lucinda, do you believe that? Do you see that? Okay, and I want to ask my girls something. Oh yeah, Miss Katie, yes.
I just wanted to let you know I'm very happy to be here. And if I have to take my screen off for a second, I also have to get my 2 kids breakfast in a meeting so I can hear everything.
Okay.
So please let your kids know if they don't see my face, I can hear them and I'm going to be in and out as best I can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listen, we are so thrilled you're here. Thank you so
My
much, girls.
pleasure.
All 3 of you wave and say thank you to Miss Katie for being here.
My pleasure. And once this is over, whatever the recording is, I'm going to make sure that the Biltmore House Curatorial Museum staff gets a copy of it. So
Excellent.
they
And they
will love
so
it.
helpful to us. We have sent them so many emails over the years, and they are always so eager to help us. And the kids really appreciate that. The
Good.
Bill is always a proponent of education, and we just love that and appreciate it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
excellent. Very good. Okay, so Miss Clark, were you able to get the grid up?
It looks like she's frozen.
It does. Miss McDonald, were you able to get the grid up?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay. I mean, you can do it without it. You definitely can do it without it. It's just easier. You can see everybody. And let's see. I'm going to text Miss Clark and see if she needs help.
Is she even on the meet? Did
She
she leave or
is. I see her
I
face.
see her.
And then just to review everybody, when we are actually starting the presentation, when you are not talking, try to mute yourself because that will just help any extra noise that we don't need, background noise. Okay, I'm gonna call Lucinda and see. Yeah, I see her icon too, sweetheart. Oh, I know, my 3 girls. We need to make sure your parents are in the room with you, okay? So let's go ahead and get them there because that's one of the things legally we had to have happen for today.
It's legal that I'm gonna get arrested if you don't come.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh,
Uh-huh. Yes. Okay, so that means you just don't have the grid. But what I would do, Lucinda, right now is remember mine is going to be recorded. So I would let's just move on since it's 9:02. I think we just go ahead and get started. Okay. So it looks like you're frozen. So I would back out and join again. So close it out and then go join again. That sound okay? I would just do the link. Just do the link that I sent you.
Miss Jeffers,
Yes.
So it's saying that the grid view has access to this site, but then when I click on it, it says it's not running. Should I get out of the meeting and get back in? Do you think that's the problem, or just let it go?
It's up to you. We are recording it where I
Yeah.
have the meet, so I can see everybody. So I will share the recording.
Okay,
So
we'll just keep moving forward
moving on.
so we don't get behind schedule.
Okay,
That's
that's cool. Excellent. Well, I believe we are ready to go. Okay, so my girls, get ready. Shoulders back, chins up. All right. So, Miss Clark, are you ready to begin?
I am ready. I am ready. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the culmination of a great journey. Welcome to all the families, friends, educators, and community who are online and will see this, or who will see this later on. A special welcome to Kashfi, Caitlin, and Tamaris. You have worked hard to get here. Thank you for your commitment. My name is Lucinda Clark, and I am the founder of the Poetry Matters Project. Our mission is to build community connections through collaboration under the guise of poetry. And this month, we will celebrate 20 years of this mission. I want to recognize Dr. Ashley Guest of Augusta University, who is responsible for the STEAMIFY competition, which is why these ladies are here. Jenny Montgomery from JBF TV News 6, Ms. Dawn Jeffers, for whom this would not be possible. Laura McDonald for her assistant, my assistant, Dr. Sandra Caraway, the school superintendent, for letting us tape this, and Ed Madden, who I'm going to introduce in a moment. Let's see. There was one other person I wanted to thank, to shout out, is Marie Blake Baker Elementary, who could not be a part of this particular presentation today. Her students will be showcased at a later time. And so without further ado, I would like to kick off the program by introducing Dr. Ed Madden. Morning, Ed. Can you hear me, Ed? Ed Madden was raised in Newport, Arkansas. He received a BA in English and French from Harding University. He has a BS in Biblical Studies and an MA in English from the University of Texas at Austin. He also has a PhD in literature from the University of Texas. His most recent collections include ARC, Ness, and Prodigal Variations. He is the professor of English and director of Women's and Gender Studies program at the University of South Carolina. He is currently serves as the Poet Laureate of Columbia, South Carolina, and he is here today because of his work with our students in the Dear Poets Project. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the Dear Poets program and how you came to be here today? Sure.
And let me just say first, I'm so sorry we're not doing this in person. I was looking forward to the visit to Augusta and at the end of March, to visit with you all and hear them read them live. But thank you for setting this up. So the Dear Poet program is a program of the Academy of American Poets, the national organization. April is National Poetry Month, and every April they do this program where they post poems online, videos of poets reading their poems. The poets are all poets who are award-winning. So all of the members of the Board of Chancellors of the Academy of American Poets, and also all the winners of the Academy's Laureate Fellowships. I was one of the winners of a Laureate Fellowship last year, the first year they did it. And they invited us up to DC last summer during the National Book Festival, and we all recorded 2 poems, and they chose 1 for the program. And then the way this is set up, students from grades 5 to 12 are invited to watch the videos, listen to the poems, and then write letters to the poets, asking about the poem, talking about what it reminds them of, anything. And so then the letters all go to the Academy of American Poets. They choose some to post online. They send them to the poets they're addressed to. The poets then can respond to as many as they want, and some of those answers will also be put online. In this case, just because of the way the pandemic has, messed up everything, I invited you guys to send your letters to me directly. And so I've received them, and I'm going to work on those this weekend, and I will just go ahead and respond directly. And I've let the Academy know that I'm doing that with this group of students, although I'm hoping to get some more to read too. This is such a fun idea. And then the poem they chose of mine is the first poem of my very first book called Trough. And it's about a horse trough behind my grandma's house in rural Arkansas, and about the fact that when we were little kids, our favorite thing about it was all the huge goldfish my grandmother had in there. So that it became, in one way, it's this very practical thing, right? That you have a horse trough. But in the other way, it's this magical thing that there are these enormous goldfish in there. And my Granny Lola kept a box of Quaker oats that we knew we could always grab and go out and feed the fish with that. And so the poem for me is about that tension. And I think I'm kind of writing about my own poetry at the same time, that tension between what's useful and what's just extra and supplemental and beautiful, which is kind of what I think poetry does. It's useful, it gives us a story or a message or language, but at the same time, there's this excess beauty and rhythm and song and sound that has nothing to do in some ways with the purpose of the language. So that's what the poem is.
And so that's great, Ed, because we when we reviewed your poem, they had some thoughts about it. We listened to you read it, and it's great that you're here to explain it. Now, the way this is supposed to work, the ladies have developed a form in which to perform it. We can ask that you listen to the performance, and after they perform it, if you'd like to comment on it, because I know I've seen you in your workshops, how you talk about line breaks. And so they did an excellent job. I don't know if you saw the color-coded, so they worked very hard on it. And so if you are ready, ladies, you can begin.
Where the horses in the room between the barn and the pasture, where catalpa tree bears its crop of worms, what draws you?
Constant tug of the dark water, the still water. Its insides, tin, slick with green. Almost as tall as you are. Your cousin Warren's deep enough to drown in.
Just inside the barbed wire that snags you, when you lean over to stare the darkness, to stare at the fish, an enormous fish in the dark water.
Gold and black, rising like apparitions to the surface, where you scatter oatmeal, stolen from your grandma's cupboard, an offering, a secret.
The fish come to you, bitten, hungry. They are everywhere. They are always hungry.
That was so cool.
Oh man, if you knew how many variations we went through just to get to that last part. So what do you think?
Oh, that was
Feedback,
lovely.
Ed.
That was lovely, and I love where you broke it for the voices. That's like the perfect places to break it, where there's this movement in the poem. And I also love that you broke it right there on the line about the barbed wire, because for me, that's like this barrier right in the middle of the poem. So I love that the voices literally broke right there as well. Very cool. Very, very smart and very cool. And thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, would you like to share your version of the reading? I mean, we saw it on the online, or would you like to refer everyone to the Dear Poets website?
I would love to see it there, but I can read it here as well and just tell you again, it's the first poem from my first book. So for me, it's kind of the poem that announces what I'm going to do in the next 4 books that come out. So it's very much grounded in where I came from. It's this book which won the South Carolina Poetry Prize a few years ago. It's called Signals. The cover, if I could say this, is by a South Carolina painter. I definitely wanted a state artist on the cover. So this is by Mike Williams, who lives in Columbia but paints a lot in the Low Country. So I love this image. A poet, I'm trying to remember her name. There was a poet who came to visit South Carolina. She said when I gave her a copy of the book, she loved the cover, and she said, "It's so pretty, I just want to lick it." Anyway, so this is trough, and it has a little header at the top to say where I like the sense of time and place. So it says Cow Lake, Arkansas, 1969. So 1969, when I'm a little kid, and Cow Lake, because that's where the little rural community in Arkansas where my grandma lived and where my family farm was based. And also, I just think it's such a cool name, Cow Lake. It's named that because there were cows and there was a creek that ran over every year. So trough. Cow Lake, Arkansas, 1969. For the horses, in the run between the barn and the pasture where a catalpa tree bears its crop of worms. What draws you? Constant tug of the dark water, the still water, its insides tin and green, almost as tall as you are, and your cousin ones big enough to drown in. Just inside the barbed wire that snags you when you lean over to stir the darkness, to stare at the fish, enormous fish in the dark water, gold and black, rising like apparitions to the surface, where you scatter oatmeal stolen from your grandma's cupboards, an offering, secret. The fish come to you, hidden, hungry. They are everywhere. They are always hungry.
Okay. Ladies, does anyone, while you have Dr. Madden here, would you like to share anything, or would you like to say anything to him?
It took me a while to get the emotion of the poem because I kept making it seem like it was a happy poem when to us it seemed almost scary.
It was like but while we were practicing, the first few times, she was always smiling whenever she said her line, and it was just we finally fixed it, but she was like constant tug of the dark water, the still water. It's inside, and it was just it was pretty funny while it was.
I love that. I get that. I don't know if I'd say it's sad. It's definitely nostalgic. And it's a nostalgic for a place and time I can never go back to. So there's that. It's not like crying sadness, but it's this kind of longing sadness that I wish I could reclaim.
Yeah, I agree.
That memory.
And why did you like try to make it scarier tense on purpose, especially with that last line? They are everywhere. They are always hungry.
You know, I don't mean that to be scary, because the goldfish, I love this image that they're rising up like ghosts on the water because the water's so murky. I guess I wanted it to be more magical than scary.
No, it's not like very scary. It's a little tense.
Okay, I can get how you would read it that way, because there's darkness, there's dark water, there's barbed wire. Your cousin's saying it's so deep you could drown in it.
And if I'm correct, is that taking place during the Cold War?
No. So, and I guess I really didn't think about the national context at that point, because I'm thinking so locally about my grandma's backyard. For me, that's my world at that point.
Kashvi, do you have anything?
What inspired you to write about a memory?
I'm sorry?
What inspired you to write about this memory?
Well, I write about my past a lot. And honestly, I'm not going to remember where this poem came from. And I will be honest too, going back to the previous question, I'm not sure where those fish came from at the end. I was just writing and that came to me and I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And I think that sometimes happens when you're writing, that you're just playing around with words and sounds and language and ideas.
Yeah, it happens to me too.
Yeah, you write something, you think, oh, wow, that's way cooler than anything I was thinking I was going to write. And I love those kinds of surprises. And for me, maybe that's what the fish are, is that sense of surprise out there that you could, going through memory, going through story, going through language, that maybe you could reach. Hopefully you could reach. They're always out there.
Excellent. Well, I just want you to know that this is just such excellent exchange of ideas, and this is just such a special thing for the kids to be able to be here with you.
Oh, this is cool.
I just appreciate it. And a couple things. One is the whole idea of art and poetry for me has always been that the person that views it does get to have their own interpretation, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really neat understanding too, that sometimes as artists we put things out there, but then people interpret it differently. But maybe it fills a need they need to be filled, you know. But I love that, to be able for them to be able to exchange those ideas with you. So
yeah, I kind of love that Caitlin was smiling when she read Inside Skin and Slick with Green.
That is great. All right. Well, I think we're going to move on to our next section now. And I will have to say, when I heard this poem and when they said they're always hungry, what I thought of in my life right now, and we're always trying to find connections, is that my 20-year-old boys are always hungry in this COVID house quarantine. My daughter and I just went grocery shopping, and my daughter's like, I can't believe, Mom, how much food I make and how much is not left over. I go, I understand. So that's kind of the connection. As teachers, we're always trying to get our students, as they're reading books, to get connections to their lives. And yesterday I had a student who was reading Harry Potter, and her assignment was to make a connection with your life. And she called me up and said, I have no connections. And I was like, wow, okay, this is something I need to work with her. And I'm so glad that she asked me that question. And we talked about the friendships in Harry Potter and the relationships. And I'm like, does that relate to you? And she's like, oh, it does. And the light bulbs just came on. So that was very cool. So what we're going to hear next is a poem that the students wrote after they visited the Biltmore. We visited the Biltmore in November of 2019 as a study tour, and we studied the Biltmore as a historical place, of course, and just the way it ties in with the Second Industrial Revolution and how that house wouldn't have been possible. And we learned all about the Vanderbilts. And then as the students were walking through the estate, my challenge to them was to think about the history of the Biltmore from the perspective of an object. So for those of you that have been to the Biltmore, a lot of students chose the lions at the front. Like, what do the lions think when they see all these people coming? I wrote my poem about Lodge Gate, which is the the gate that you drive through at the very entrance. And so these students chose something to write about, and I'm very excited for you to hear the perspective of the Biltmore and the history through the eyes of a duster. So here, and we can go ahead and unmute, ladies. Here is the depressed duster.
I sit in the basement and wait all day for one of the tourists to come my way. I used to clean and get very dusty. I still feel like a hammer that's gone rather rusty.
Oh, I remember when I came. I was nice and new, but dirty I became. My feathers are dirty, dust covered and worn. But that's not the thing. It makes me feel torn.
It's the fact that I never get to go out. All I do is clean those cups. Dust, dust, dust. Clean, clean, clean. All I do is make things clean.
After lots of experience, I know the maids get to go up. I can't believe I have to stay here in this boring dump. George Vanderbilt was the one who built this place. He's the owner of the house, and the maids who care with so much grace.
Every day it's the same routine, cleaning windows and dusting screens. If I could go up, the first thing I'd see would be the painting of Aurora in the library.
Inside the library, there's something else I'd like to peek. I've heard her chestnut there too, watching Aurora sleep. How lucky they must be to be upstairs, though I wouldn't like to be cut up to 13 pieces like Aurora up there.
George Vanderbilt's dad had 13 kin. I feel like that must be a win-win. But if I couldn't get to go upstairs, I'd like to go outside. But with a beautiful sunset, nothing can compare.
I've heard of two lions standing guard at the door, and like me, probably wishing they could do much more. I've also heard of a thing called Lodge Gate, who claims this is a self-running estate, but no one believes it. Not me, that's it.
In 2010, Antler Village was available, making the Biltmore much more capable. And when you hear the store bells chime, you knew someone had bought a souvenir to remember their time.
But there was one day I remember that tore me most. The maids were not there, not eating their toast. They were upstairs, mourning for the boss, and that was one very remarkable loss.
I missed him for the stories that would never be read again. But I was also eager for a little change to begin. Maybe the maids would say I was there with no one to joke, no one to care.
Several months later, the estate opened to all. Many came big, and others came small. I feel like they came to honor my master, but I think they treated it like a natural disaster.
A few years later, I found myself in a case, trying to be still and quiet as a vase. I assumed that they call me an antique, which really sounds rather unique.
To be honest, I miss the maids, and how their tiny children played. I guess the view is kind of cool, as I watch new children walk to their school.
Some things still puzzle me. I have no idea what to do, or what to be. Am I used as a thing to be sat and admired, or am I something much more dire?
I feel like I'm on life's new stage. Now I sit in a pretty glass cage, and the thing I say each and every day,
I sit and wait for the tourist
to come my way.
everyone's clapping on mute.
Yeah, that's right. Good job, ladies. Thank you so much.
Right. Excellent. Now, I wanna just put a comment in here. Watching them do it on the screen, while very impressive as they move through it, well, you should have seen how many takes we did while they were practicing whether to stand up, whether to hold a book, whether to hold a duster, whether to spin, whether to stop. Outstanding, outstanding, ladies. You did a great job.
Thank you.
There were several individuals. We had one session because they wanted to do it like a spoken word slam. And we did have a slam coach who took a look, but I think that the way that you practiced it, it's going to be perfect. Thank you. Ms. Jeffers, did you want to add anything else with regard to the poem?
No, I am so proud of them though. And I think it was neat. Tomris had shared why they chose the duster. Tomris, would you like to share that with us?
I know that a lot of people, when Miss Jeffers explained the assignment after we came back from the Biltmore to write a story or poem about an object or something that was in the Biltmore, a lot of people chose really big, important, and very recognizable things, such as the lions guarding the door and in the dining hall, a giant moose or reindeer head. But we decided to down in the basement, not really where all the action is happening. We chose a duster that was from one of the maids that George Vanderbilt had. And even though it's pretty small in size and importance, we still decided it would be a good idea, like for a change or a little twist, to write from the perspective of an object that was pretty below everything else.
Excellent. Thank you. It was. And I will say, when I first saw that, I was like, okay. I was like, I'm not quite sure how they're going to pull this together. But they wrote a nice framework, and Lucinda, Miss Clark, absolutely helped them finish it out, and that was awesome. Miss Clark came and Miss McDonald came many Wednesdays, and they came and worked with the students, and that was just such an experience for them to have that one-on-one with you, and with both of you working so hard that it also made them feel special, and it also taught them so many things. Like, they took that simple poem and really elevated it to an awesome presentation. So I want to thank you ladies for all that work, and that was awesome. Would anyone else like to comment on the poem? Would you like to say something? Mr. Madden, Dr. Madden, let's hear what you have to say.
I loved it. And I love that you guys chose that. There's a way in which anybody being given that assignment is going to choose something big, because there's so much grand, beautiful stuff there. So I love that you chose something that seems to be simple and marginal and down in the basement. And I'll say, honestly, it's really smart too, because one of the ways we think about history is often the stories of the rich and powerful, right? And one of the things you guys did is you're retelling the story of the house and of the people of the house from the point of view of something associated with the maid, something that's down in the basement. So it's a kind of marginal history, history from the bottom, which is what most historians would say. And literally yours is that, it's history from the basement. So I love that you chose that object, and it lets you then reimagine the story of the house and the story of the owner of the house from the point of view of the maid. And I just think that's brilliant. Really, really cool.
Excellent. Would anyone else like to share anything before we move on? Okay, well, ladies, I'm so proud of you. I have been a Horizon or a teacher for a long time, and I've certainly loved this experience and loved watching you grow through this. So I'm so proud of you, and I'm also so proud of their attitudes, because when we realized that the poetry event was going to be canceled, they took it like champs. But this year at River Ridge Elementary, our theme, or our school theme, was creative thinking and creativity. And my whole passion is teaching kids how to be creative to help them to be real world problem solvers, because that base of solving problems comes from that brainstorming, that creative thinking. And that's been my passion as an educator. And I feel like us being able to do this was a great model and example of, we had a problem, we had to cancel your presentation, your poetry recital, and so, but we worked around that. We problem solved and we brainstormed, and Miss Clark and all of you that were here to help do that just really made it come alive. And just a fun fact, Tamras is in Virginia right now. As soon as the COVID started, she and her family left to go be with family members before they couldn't move. And so honestly, if we would have done it in Augusta, she wouldn't have been able to be there right now. So that was a really, a great sideline. So we're so thankful to Augusta University for giving us the STEAMIFY project to work on, so these students could express themselves in poetry and go through that whole design engineering process, which has that element of the creativity and brainstorming in it. So I, as a teacher, just, I'm a huge advocate of that project that Dr. Guest and her university holds. And I just couldn't, I've seen what my students, how they've grown through this, and we are just thrilled. So thank you so much. And I am finished talking.
Yeah.
So
well, I wanted to say, Ms. Jeffers, just to piggyback on what you said, because you're right. When I said we are at the culmination of a journey, we had 2 other dates. And we finally pulled it together. We had the Morris Museum, who was giving us the space. We had Ed, who was going to come, Dr. Madden, who was going to come down from Columbia and be a part of it. We had another school who wanted to kind of round out the entertainment portion, because they worked hard on it. And when we got the notion, or we got the word that schools were closing or businesses were closing, we were like, okay, we're going to wait till the last second. We're going to wait, because we know that there are mothers, fathers, grandmothers, brothers, sisters who wanted to see the ladies perform. And when we shut it down, because we had no choice, I remember coming to Miss Jeffers and saying, what are we going to do? And it's because you said, well, we're problem solvers. Let's do this. And that's why we're so thankful. I know we're going to have Ashley, Dr. Guest, speak, because we're all here because of the STEAMIFY program. But I am just overwhelmed and overjoyed that we were able to do this. So again, ladies, you were outstanding. Do with all the technology. I wish everybody could open their mics and give them applause. Give them a round of applause. You were phenomenal. And so now what I'm going to do, and again, Ed, thank you very much. I know that this is Poetry Month and you guys are busy as can be. Thank you so much for dealing with the changes in the schedule and being here with us today and your feedback. And I'm going to turn it now over to, is it Laura? I'm going to turn over to Laura because Laura's here on the screen, because I know that Dr. Guest is going to make a few comments, and Laura's going to close us out.
Okay. Dr. Guest, do you want to go ahead and speak?
That'd be great. And I don't want to, I won't take a lot of your time. I just want you to know that while I was sitting here listening to this and watching the culmination, I had literally tears running down my face, because as a career educator, you know, and as a science educator, primarily, historically is how I work, you know, I always strove to bring this kind of interdisciplinary teaching to all of my students, because not everybody thinks in a computational way. They think through words, they think through metaphors, they think through color and design, culminating in an art piece. So to hear these ladies, you know, express themselves and tie in the science and the history and the ELA, and all together, it captured everything. This is the way to motivate students and to get them to connect to their world. And watching all of you come together around them has been magical for me. It's exactly what STEAMIFY is designed to do. So it is designed to give the students the opportunity to express themselves, to solve problems, to have a voice. All students have a voice. It's also designed, like you can hear what Ms. Jeffers did. She took a hold of this and brought it to her classroom. So there's a seamless, so it's almost like the students' learning has transcended the walls of her classroom, out of the building and into the community. That is meaningful teaching, and I applaud her right now. I'm giving you the applause because this is, again, a second goal of STEAMIFY, is to empower educators to do this kind of thing, to reach beyond their walls and to connect to the experts in the community, because one person can't do it all, and we're not designed for that. And to do this despite COVID was so amazing. Just, you know, I am thrilled. And then to see all of the community members come alongside. Ms. Clark, I don't even know how I'm ever going to be able to say thank you enough for your extra effort, everything. And Dr. Madden, I am just excited to meet you, and I hope that we can find an explicit way to continue to build this for our community, because we have schools from South Carolina coming now. It is truly something that we can, you know, build our community with. We are getting ready to publish our next challenges. The board is actually meeting right now, and I said to them, I'll be there, don't worry. But I will give you a preview. It is going to be aligned with a national challenge with AARP. So we're very excited that we will be, you know, bringing our efforts and AARP's national challenge together. And so we'll be publishing those here in April. And a lot of people have said to me, okay, what about COVID? What's going to happen? And I was like, you know what? We don't know what's going to happen. But right now, we're not, I think now more than ever, our kids need to see the learning opportunities that go beyond their walls. You know, I keep thinking about this as teachers are struggling to do, you know, online and blah, blah, blah. It's really not about online. It's about finding an educational vehicle to engage all students. It doesn't have to be just practicing things online. And this is a perfect example. And so it has made me more resolute, and my board more resolute to proceed. So very excited about it. And I thank you for this opportunity to be here with you today.
Thank you, Dr. Guest. We really appreciate the opportunity to develop an experience. So when you go to your board, they say, well, you know, what kind of experiences? You can tell them we can just bring the whole community together. And thank you for entrusting me with this. When we were starting to have the cancellations, and Laura can attest to this, I said, oh my God, Laura, whatever we do, we got to make this happen. And so thank you for believing in us, and thank you for being here today. Laura, you want to close us out?
Yes. First of all, I want to say thank you to all three girls, Takashvi, Caitlin, and Tomris, for all of their hard work. You guys did such a great job. And I had it was such an honor to be able to work with you over the weeks that we did leading up to this. You all are hard workers. You're so creative, and you just really, really did a great job. And I just appreciate all of your hard work. I want to say thank you also to Dr. Madden for being here with us. That was also a great honor, and we're so appreciative that you could be with us, as well as Dr. Guest. Thank you for your words. And also to Jenny Montgomery for joining us. That was a really cool special edition, so we're glad you were with us as well. I want to say thank you also to my boss, Ms. Clark, for bringing me into into this, because it's just been a great experience, and I would love the opportunity to do it again if it comes up. But I really enjoyed it. And then finally, I just want to say to Ms. Jeffers for putting all of this together, because you were truly instrumental in making all this happen. So just thank you so much. And it's just been a really good experience. So thank you to everyone.
Right. And on that note, we will close if there are no other comments or questions, because I know that, well, I was going to say we're all staying in place, so maybe not. Would anyone like to share anything else? Okay, I guess that's
Miss Montgomery. Okay, yes, the three girls stay on. And all of you, thank you. And I want you to know, when you said you were crying, honey, I've been crying the whole time. So I really thank you to everyone. Miss Rivers, Miss Clark, Miss McDonald, Miss Dr. Madden, Dr. Guest, thank you so much. And thank you to all the parents that took all of my texts when I would keep calling and saying, we're changing the date, we're changing the date, we're changing the date, and they just went with it. So girls, you make sure to give your parents a high five. All right, so thank you everybody, and we'll be in touch, and I'll send everybody the video.
Okay, bye-bye.
Sounds good, thank you, bye everybody.
Oh, excellent.
Fantastic.
Okay, excellent. All right, so ladies, Miss Montgomery is going to lead some questions now.
Hi, girls. Hi. If y'all will put your mics on, and let me ask you one favor. If you have earbuds handy, can you put them in? Because our sound will be much better on TV if everybody is in, if you plug in your headsets. The sound will be much better.
It'll be a second.
And Ms. Jeffers, if you have some nearby, and if you don't, that's okay. So girls, this was really a neat thing to do. And I love it because I have all of your names under you. So I know who I'm talking to. I know who I'm talking about. But I want to just ask you real quick, a couple of things. What did it feel like when you got to be able to ask questions back and forth with Dr. Madden, since you knew his work so well?
It was kind of cool.
I feel like getting advice from a poet who has published many poems and has written a book will set us up for the future, so that if we want to become poets, we have a great shot at it.
It was interesting that he took such an interest in your work. And you know what else I really liked? He loved the way that you presented the trough. He loved the way that you presented his poem. And that had to be kind of make you feel a little bit nervous too, thinking you were going to do his work for him. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if we messed up words, that's kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Poem, they don't know the exact words, but with trough, he does. He made the
Yeah, exactly. He does. I thought it was really great that he could tell you, what it meant to him and how it was important in his life, and even some of the things that were random for him that you thought maybe it was a specific reference, and he's like, no, it was like even better than it could have been in real life. It was like imagination, and okay, well, that's cool too. That's a neat thing to do. I have gotten to interview different artists before and musicians, and it's really fun when you get to talk about where they were in their headspace when they were writing something. And that's what you got to do with him today. How has this been on a personal level for you all, having to do school like this since March?
I'm gonna be 100% honest here. I think that actually going to school before COVID-19 was like 10 times easier. Some people might say that doing it on a computer is easier because you get easier work. But to me, I have literally been doing school almost my whole life, so it's safe to say that I'm definitely used to it.
Right.
But like doing it on a computer, like because the teachers aren't really there to remind me of stuff, like say what exactly I have to do, because sometimes with all the docs and getting the slides ready, it's all really it makes me nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, am I doing it wrong? And it was just yesterday so we're always supposed to mark our work as done, but today our teacher said don't turn anything in. And instead of the mark is done button, it was a turn in, and I'm like, wait, what? Because there was a Google slide attached to it. And then I got really confused because I'm like, do I turn it in? And even when my teacher commented and said what I was supposed to do, I still got really confused.
I can imagine.
I feel the same way as Thomas does because we don't have teachers to explain everything like they usually do. And when we're learning something new, we don't get the firsthand experience that we usually did. So it's kind of a little bit more challenging.
Right. Caitlin, what do you think about it?
So I'm kind of going towards Koshfi and Thomas, but I enjoy this because I get to spend more time with my family, but I'm still doing the work. The only thing that I miss is spending time with friends and doing the hands-on stuff. But the good thing is teachers are doing Google Meet, so we get to be with everyone. So
yeah.
Well, you took
that's
me
fun.
right into my next question, and that was going to be, what is it like not to be around your friends? So you said, well, we do see them on Google Meet. We see them.
Hi, friends.
Does it, as parents, a lot of us think, oh my gosh, these kids, they don't even talk anymore. They just text to each other. But now
but this time we actually have no choice.
You miss being in contact face to face.
Yeah.
You do miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool that we get to do the Google Meets, and me, Koshfi, and Ife, another girl who is in Koshfi's class and Caitlin's, we have this doc that we would all go on at the same time, and we could talk to each other there, and that's pretty fun. We also did that with Caitlin and Koshfi.
Too.
Okay, so, and when you say a doc, so you're typing to each other.
Yes.
Oh,
Right,
okay. Yes.
So it's
Thank
not
you.
a meet.
Mrs. Jeffers knew. I had no idea what that term was.
Exactly. And just FYI, Miss Montgomery, is that they are not allowed to be in a Google Meet unless there is a teacher in there with them. So as soon as, we have to close out our Google Meets as soon as our meets are finished. But what they're talking about is they can have one document that is shared between if you share it with each other, then you can just write to each other.
And also inside the Google Meet, not the Google Meet, sorry. Inside the document that we all go on, there's a link. There's actually several links, but there's a link that I created a Google link. So it's a teacher isn't in there. It's just a Google Meet for the three of us. And when you just said that the teachers have to be in the Google Meet, like, are we allowed to do that?
Well, as a teacher, if I'm doing something for school, I have to be in there with you or have another adult in there with you.
It's
Okay.
not really, it's not for school. It's kind of just something
But it's
that,
not something I set up. So, that's something, you know what I mean? If I set it up or then I have to make sure I'm in there or have an adult in there.
okay, thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
Tom, it's very neat that you're in Virginia, but you can still do your classwork with your friends. That's amazing.
Wow,
The things
modern
that we're able
technology.
to do with technology and COVID has just been pretty crazy. Like you all still getting to do your presentation today, even though we couldn't be together, you still thought of a way outside the box to be able to do it and to have the people there who were important to be there, like Ms. Clark and like Dr. Madden. And so all of that got to still happen. And again, for you being in Virginia, that's just amazing to me that we can still carry on even in different places. So I just think you all are just terrific. And I think that this is a really challenging time. It's a time you're always going to remember for sure. You'll always remember. What are you in 5th grade right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
I don't
always
think
going to
anyone
remember.
could forget it.
Right.
Tried.
This will always be something in your life you remember, but you're going to be a lot stronger for it. And again, the skills you are learning right now about thinking outside the box are so important. And I bet one of the things that you might find yourself doing, like with your teachers, when you were saying, gosh, we just can't like raise our hand and get a question answered right away.
Yeah.
It build other skills. Like you may find yourself writing questions down so that when you do see your teacher again, you know the questions you need to ask. And as adults, that's one of the things you have to learn to do before you go to a doctor's appointment. You've got to know that you've got to make the most of the time that you're going to have, and you have to be in the habit of getting things written down that you want to ask. So these are all skills that you're learning now that you're just going to build on. I'm fascinated to watch all of this, and I thank all of you for talking to me. Is there anything else you want to say about this STEAMIFY project and the poetry competition?
Well, none of this would have happened without STEAMIFY, so I'm really grateful that Ms. Jeffers set up that program. And a lot of people I noticed picked engineering and drama. So, and almost nobody picked spoken words. So we wanted to
So we were automatically into the STEAMIFY competition because there were no multiple teams, and it was just the 3 of us that did.
No,
but Mason, but she left,
And then
she couldn't come to the STEAMIFY. Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to say, Miss Montgomery, is that with 5th graders, they have the end of the year things because they're ending elementary school. And so they're going to miss out on some of those things because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I was also so passionate about allowing them to have this experience, because I just thought it was such a good culminating event that we could still have, and I hope that these 3 are so creative, and this is going to be kind of a milestone for you to remember that school was shut down. We couldn't go to school, but we still found a way to have your project. Okay. And they call themselves the Poeteers instead of the Puppeteers, the Poeteers. And so the Poeteers presentation. And Mason Smith was a student that was with them in the beginning, but she did move. So she didn't get to compete, but she was with them in the beginning, just, making that known. So anyway, okay.
Okay, let me ask you one more thing, Ms. Jeffers. How did the STEAMIFY project and their winning and everything, just tell me how that happened, the background for that.
Okay, so in the end of October, we competed at Augusta University in STEAMIFY. So they competed against about 13 other teams from the CSRA, and they were chosen first place. And so because of that win, they were given experiences. And so the experience was to work with Lucinda and Miss McDonald to have a poetry, like, you know, a poetry recital. So what's different about that, they did each get a 3D printed medal. But what Dr. Guess's big push is giving them experiences, not just giving them a prize.
Right.
And so we really have enjoyed that. One of our other teams won, and they won some other prizes, you know, other experiences as well. So that's been exceptional.
And the really cool thing is that as part of STEAM, written word.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
so
we think of so many engineering things when we hear about STEAM.
Exactly.
And we think about math.
So, exactly. So they do engineering, theater, spoken word, visual arts. Those are the 4 competitions they have. Am I missing one, girls? And so our class won poetry, which was spoken word, and we won theater. So, and then our theater team actually were the grand champions, and that's when we were at the state capitol. So our students did exceptionally well. Woo, right, girls?
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. What a
Speaking
strong
of
way to
what-
finish.
Mm-hmm.
What Kashvi said, yeah, she couldn't come to the ceremony. She had left early. So me and Caitlin, we were just sitting, and then they suddenly announced that we won, and we were so excited. We got our medals, and then Caitlin got Miss Harrison, our other teacher, Horizons teacher's phone, and we called Kashvi, and Kashvi's like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Guys, calm down. There are other people here. Like, we're not the only people in this extremely overcrowded theater." Like they're like,
Right.
"Hey, we won it." I'm like, "Oh, gonna shush."
Right. And Miss Jeffers was cutting.
It was a great experience.
I was doing lawn work, and I was headed back to go to the awards, but because of bad weather, they moved the awards up. So I'm getting phone calls because Miss Harrison and Miss Jeffers were the two teachers, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Jeffers, you got to get down here." I'm like, "I thought it was in an hour." And so it was a crazy afternoon, and Caitlin and Thomas got to go up and accept all the awards for our school, and there was a lot of excitement that day. But Dr. Guess is providing such a great experience for these students, and STEAMIFY is really growing, really growing.
That is
Miss Jeffers is
neat. It's to hear, and I'm so glad that I got to see everything this morning and to be a part of this. And now I'm just going to go on into work and put a story together for the news tonight. And if you're not here and you can't get Channel 6 where you are, it'll be posted online, so you will be able to see it, Thomas. Okay?
Yeah, what time?
Yes. Yeah. Thomas, what were you going to say? What was the last thing you were going to say?
Miss Jeffers, one of the things that pop out about you to me is you have lots of enthusiasm and you're always excited for everything. Now, you're always excited about a lot of things, but when you came to the STEAMIFY, you were like that times 10. You were like, "Oh my gosh!"
I love that sound bite. I love that sound bite. That is so true. That you were so like that times 10.
That is so funny. All right, well, girls, everyone look at Miss Montgomery and say thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent. And Miss Elledge, Miss Montgomery, we're going to let you go.
Okay. I don't know. It'll be in the evening shows, but I don't know which ones. I don't know which ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So
right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye, Miss
Bye-bye.
Montgomery. All right, girls, hold on. Let me talk to you for a sec. Okay. So now let's breathe. Okay. So how do you feel it went?
It went great.
I know. Just breathe, right, Thomas? Yeah. How about you, Kashvi? What do you think?
It went really, really awesome. And the audio wasn't bad.
No, I think it was pretty good. Yeah. I think in the beginning, Miss Clark was echoing and I wasn't sure what was going on. But after that, I thought it was pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Caitlin? What were your thoughts?
I was smiling so much my mouth started to hurt.
Oh, that's great.
I've done that before.
Yeah, but
I wonder if any of that hurting was from the many, many, many practices we did of trough and you were smiling.
Yeah,
I wonder.
I loved it because okay, so let's just break it down. So first of all, number one, I want you to know I appreciate your dedication to this program, okay? And to whatever you do, you girls always give 100%. And that little nugget of your personalities is going to take you so far in this world. Okay? Okay. That's number one. Number two, as far as this show went, or this recital went, I loved the way in your screen, could you see your 3 pictures in a row?
No, it was kind of like scattered around. I could see myself.
Really?
And then at the bottom and Thomas at the top.
Okay, wait, 1 second. I've just got a text from one of our participants. Hold on.
The only way I can see myself is in that really super tiny rectangle in the top right corner. I'm like, hi.
Same.
And then you and Kate, and then you and Coffee, you're just like, you're like humongous.
See, it's like Koshvi's at the top, Thomas and Miss Jeffers are right below her. It's like a pyramid.
Yeah,
Okay,
Koshvi-
I'm gonna send your parents a picture because let me show you what it looked like for me. It was perfect for me.
I'll send you a picture. Get ready.
Yeah, but I'm gonna show you guys this. Can you see it? It was me, then Kashvi, then Thomas, then Caitlin. It was perfect on the recording. Oh, I'm gonna stop the recording now, by the way. I'm gonna stop the recording because we don't need to be recording our comments.
Yeah.